Welcome back to the Red Bill Performance channel. Can't wait to get going on this thing. Excitement level is barely measurable. Nah, I'm just messing with y'all. But all right, today is the day. We are finally going to do the fuel system on this. Feels like I've been waiting forever. Hasn't really been that long, but feels like it. But yeah, well, I mean, we got in all the stuff. You know, quick little update to where we are. You know, we kind of did some adjusting on the manifolds, did a little port matching, did a little bolt hole drilling to get them scooched around better placement. So we got the new manifold on this side, got the used one on this side, got that all buttoned up. We got the rear main seal on it, got the oil pan on it. So, you know, we got all that done, and, you know, now it's time for the fuel system. We're going to conquer this top end here. Truck's in here, as you can see. There's been some work going on there. We'll dive into that a little bit more extensive later on. But truck's back in the shop. Has had some background work going, you know, taking place to it. And then here, we got some parts in. Love parts. This here is a Ford genuine block heater. Because we figure, you know, well, we got it sitting right here, and you know, and the block heater is tucked up right sure. What better time to just replace it? You know, it's got a really rusty pan in there on it and stuff, so let's go ahead and pop in a new one. And tomorrow, it won't be a problem, you know, when it decides not to work. So, lovely. Got us a new block heater. This box here, almost certain I know what it is. One of the things we needed to actually move on with this fuel system from CNC Fabrication, Diesel Performance. So far, everything that we've got from them, I have actually, you know, liked it, not had a problem with it. All right, let's see. I just got everything wrapped up in this wax paper. Here's one of their little whoop-de-whoop lines. Yeah, that's nice. It's all AN style fitting, so no more, you know, rubber seals to go wrong and leak all over the place like they have a tradition of doing on these. Oh, nice. I'm pretty sure it's all stainless steel too. Just really nice quality stuff. Sweden. The line was made in Sweden. Oh, look at this. I got a free pin out of the deal. Got a little plug, some O-rings. All right, retained fuel line kit. Okay, okay. Sweet. And, you know, that's pretty much the finished product. And we even have this line kit here, so that's going to be taking place. And then we got all this lineage that's going to be taking place. All right. Pressure sensor adapter. Okay, okay. Free pin. Do like that. It's the first time I've ever installed one of these kits, so I know I got the poo on me. Stupid thing. Anyway, this is the first time I've ever installed one of these kits, so I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Look at that big old T. Dang it. There's that. Right here. That. So that is everything that is in the box. And I hope that that's not a problem, because this little page here shows with these O-rings and plug, that adapter. But maybe that's what this is. Maybe, because that's the same adapter as that, so maybe that's what that is. We'll see. We will see when we get in here. Like I said, first time installing one of these kits, so I'm sure we will learn the intricacies of it once we are deep in here. I mean, you know, that's figured out, right? All right. Get this box out of our way. So do I want to? Yeah, I'll just leave these fuel lines right here. We'll be to them pretty quick. All right, next up on the list, we'll just work our way down the pile. Oh yeah, this right here. Unlimited diesel performance. Fueling the addiction. Yeah, I hope y'all can guess what this is. This here is the expensive box. Prior to installation, register your injectors at warranty and limited diesel. Solenoid serial numbers required. Yep, that's just all the warranty stuff, what has to be done. And all these notices, and there's a notice on the side of the box that's covered up because it had a shipping label on it. All the cores that are going back to them have to be put back in this packaging the same way that we have received it in order for the owner to receive his core charges. Oh yeah. This is all of the injectors. This is the big money box. And the solenoid numbers are all right here on top of them. We can't really see them right now, but we will get more into that once we actually start opening them and popping these bad boys in there. But yeah, this here is the expensive box. Injectors, injectors, injectors. And we got all 9 of them for this application. Oh yeah. And packaged well, which I mean, of course they are, as expensive as they are. Plus, I mean, from the looks of this box, it almost looks like it's been through the shipping and warranty process like 8 times. All right, we'll get this set over here and out of the way till we actually get ready for this required field. And then we have a Banks box. Everybody loves bank boxes. This here is kind of a replacement part, kind of, sort of. I know one thing, Banks does believe in a thick box. Oh no, I broke it. And with Banks, as always, packaging is flawless. I mean, especially for what's in here, which you know, you don't want the ends of them getting bashed up, but yeah. Got us a real nice Banks downpipe. It don't look like it swells up enough. We'll see. We will see. Make sure that they ain't got a clamp hidden away in here somewhere. That seems pretty light. Nope. Okay. Now, I know what y'all are wondering. Really seems like we're getting a downpipe collection going on around here. And you'd be right. I guess that's the part number, 55212. Not really sure, to be honest with you. But we are getting quite the downpipe collection going on here. We got that one there that I just unboxed. We got this nice Banks downpipe. That's the 4-inch one, or whatever it measures up. I'm pretty sure it's 4-inch. One for the Banks exhaust to go to factory turbo. Oh, got all things of tape port in there. I'm about to get that fitting out. I'm pretty sure I have to put that fitting in the exhaust brake here. I think. Maybe. I'll get back to you on that. But yes. And then we have this Banks downpipe right here. Wow, they look totally different. Anywho, This is the Banks downpipe that came with the Banks brake. And since it has the 4-inch exhaust on it, and this is only a 3-inch exhaust pipe, don't get me lying to you, might be 3.5. Let me double check. Yeah, okay, 3.5. See, I lied to y'all. All right, so see, this is the downpipe that comes with the Banks brake when you order it. To go, I guess, to the factory exhaust. This would be what would hook up to your factory exhaust. And it's 3.5 inch. Well, he has the Banks 4-inch exhaust on it, so he needed the bigger Banks downpipe. Which the kit that he ordered was supposed to come with this. This one, I guess, just accidentally got put in there. So that's all this is. This is just correcting a minor error on Banks's part where they shipped it with the wrong downpipe. This is the right one. So, sweet. All right, so we're over that. We got injectors, we got the H-pop, we got the block heater, we got the fuel lines, we got the studs, we got the high pressure oil lines, we have the pedestal, and everything else on the engine's done. So, let's do a little bit of cleaning. Clean around these fittings, clean around the valve cover gasket. Just do a little scrapey with the wire brush and the vacuum cleaner. And then let's tear this bad boy down. Let's do what we come here to do. Yes. Alrighty then. I think we have it clean enough. We can actually start cracking it open now. And see, and I wanted to take care of that while it was still pretty much sealed up, you know, because these plugs here have to be taken out and these hoses, and that opens up into the high pressure oiling system. So I wanted to get it as clean as around these fittings as I could so contaminants didn't get in there, because that could ruin injectors and pump. And then about to take off all these fuel fittings and plugs, so I wanted all the grime cleaned out from around those, because, well, that's the fueling system. It also goes to the injectors and other pumps. And so, you know, cleanliness is key here. And then you notice I covered this up because all this, you know, that leads down into the motor. That one leads back into the actual main oiling passage. So didn't want that uncovered while I was sitting here blowing. And now, while some debris probably did get down into here, and there might be exhaust manifold or two open, exhaust valve cracked open here or there. You know, I wouldn't proactively, like, I wasn't blowing down in here, like forcing. So while some debris might have come and settled here, it's a little old, little chunky stuff, and, you know, just little fine stuff that, you know, as long as you're not proactively, like, forcing air down here, it shouldn't make its way into the engine. And once it's actually put back together and started, that little bit of stuff that's going to blow past the turbine will not hurt the turbine. I mean, it's, you know, there was no large chunks, like there was nothing obscene that's going to make its way in there. So I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. Y'all can do whatever steps y'all want. I'm not worried about that. I was able to block off the oil passages there. And like I said, for the most part, the engine's still sealed up. So that was the best time to do any of that scraping and cleaning. We'll just get her tore down, and, you know, we'll take it from there. So yeah, we're going to start with valve covers off, and, you know, just, you know, we're just going to look at things, because, you know, sometimes that's what you got to do. Sometimes you just got to look at it. That's what we're going to do. Valve covers off. Pretty undramatic. 13 mil. All bolts come out. This right here is the only one that you actually need, like, a wrench to get to it, just because how it is. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And then when it comes down to your, you know, your valve cover gaskets, just remember to unclip all your injectors first. And or as these get older, these can tend to get a little brittle. So, You know, just be gentle with them, unclip them all. See if you can coax them out of there. Oh yeah, coming out nice and easy. Just what we like to see. Oh, don't forget about the glow plugs, like I just did. These should, in a perfect world, just pop right off. Yet again, like I said, in a perfect world. All right. We'll give those a little wipe down here. Pretty sanitary overall, though. Not a bad looking unit, and you can see those head bolts there. There's no way we can get to those with the injectors in. But honestly, looking at it, you got the head bolts that are out here, and those. That's the only one that would give you problems with the injectors in. Dang it. Alright, well, that's good though. I mean, we ain't even got to take the rocker arms off. It's going to be pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Glow plugs first on this side. Aha. Smart, like a fox. And some people would probably recommend changing the valve cover gasket. But these valve cover gaskets honestly ain't that old, and they are reusable. So, and they weren't leaking. So I don't see any need for us to replace them. We'll just clean them up and we'll put them back in there. They're actually not that old. We replaced them not too long ago because he had that 7.3 problem happen where the harness starts coming unclipped. And those are actually some improved design. They're not supposed to do that, which we haven't had any problems with it doing it. Yeah, he called me up one day. He's like, man, the truck feels a little low on power. I was like, well, you know, bring it on in. We'll look at it. He drives it there. He's like, you know, I drove it all the way here at 60. You know, I mean, it's just really, really down on power. Got to look around, and one of the injector harnesses was unhooked. So he drove it like, you know, 20 miles with half the engine. And his only complaint is it's just a little down on power. So, yeah. That old saying, there's no replacement for displacement. Yeah, there's not really much arguing with that now, is there? What I want to do before I do anything is pull these plugs out of the end of the head, so any fuel that's in the head can go ahead and run out, and that way whenever I pull the injectors, it won't run into the cylinders, which I do believe I'm going to get some oil in there. I'm not 100% worried about that. I will take the engine and rotate it over before I put in each injector and pump out any oil that is in that said cylinder, you know, as we start putting in injectors. That way each hole won't hydrolock when we go start this thing. All right, let's get these plugs out, and then we can get the riffraff plugs in there. Oh yeah. Now I see why they do the upgrade on these. I mean, those are itty bitty little holes for the fuel to go through. Yes, and let's compare our new riffraff plugs to our old ones. See how much more flow these have. Even the center hole is way bigger. I need to spray that out and give it a little swish, swish. Looks a little gunky in there. But anyway, way more flow. Riff-raff diesel. And why exactly it's drilled in the manner that it is, that, I mean, they could have made this boss a little bit bigger, or could have had the angle a little steeper, just where they could have just put plugs on here. You know, they could have just plugged these off. But instead they made it where you had to put these in there. It just seems like an extra step to me. Like an extra part, I mean, it could have just been a standard plug. And then this wouldn't even be a thing. But it is a thing, so that's what we gotta deal with. And the riffraff bags come in packs of 2, so if you want 4, you have to buy 2, you know, packages of them. Because in most cases, if you were doing this, you only need this plug and this plug, because that's where the fuel lines run. But since we're making it a 4 line, we need them at each hole, We need them all the way around so we get good fueling everywhere. Because now instead of feeding fuel in at just one end of the head, and like see the fuel comes in here, and we're putting bigger injectors and cranking up what fuel is coming into the engine. Now where this fuel injector here has all the fuel. I mean, it's getting all the fuel right now. It's got all the pressure, all the volume. It's got all the fuel right here. By the time you get to the end of the head down here, because this just blocks off, it's just a dead head. By the time the fuel gets down here, you're running out of fuel. Same thing on this head, because it comes in here and it comes down and it dead heads here. So by the time you're getting to this injector, you're running out of fuel. Well, this way there's less likely that, because you're pushing fuel in from both ends of the head and you're feeding from both directions. So you're less likely to have any fuel starvation problems, you know, as you're turning the truck up. When it's stock, probably never a problem, like ever. So it's just in our situation where we're shooting for a little more horse torque, you know what I mean? Getting her going. Where is my dang old brake cleaner? Getting low again. Plan repurchase. There was a little bit of contaminants in there, so make sure when y'all get y'all's plugs, make sure y'all do inspect them and clean them out. It's not something you want to have to deal with. It's ruining your brand new injectors. Right off the hop. That would be unfortunate, to say the least, anyway. And these riffraff ones are 10 millimeters, and I will refrain from using the impact on them. Alright, all the riffraff plugs are in. And I believe next we're going to conquer the injectors, because I want to go ahead and get the studs in this thing. So, yeah, we're going to do the injectors next. And for all y'all that are following along at home, or maybe watching this video to see how you want to go about doing yours or something like that, this, you know, you don't have to do anything I'm doing in the same order that I'm doing it. I'm actually kind of just making it up as I go. You know, I don't do these often enough to say that I have a tried and true, you know, order of operations or anything like that. But, you know, so whatever order y'all want to do them is completely up to y'all. I'm just trying to, you know, give some helpful information out there, just give some oversight. So in case any of you want to try and take on something like this on your own, at least you have something you can look at and be like, okay, this isn't that intimidating. So, yes, let's do the injectors. Okay. So these here are just oil downspouts for the oil that comes out of the injectors. Just spray, just psh. That's all these do. These just control oil flow. I mean, you don't want to damage them or get them dirty or any of that sort of stuff, but that's all these are. So don't be frightened by these, because you'll have to get these off in order to get to your, you know, injector bolts, so you can, you know, unbolt your injector. Anyway, we'll make this one injector numero uno. We'll make this the first one we take out. And then I have this nifty injector remover and installer tool from OTC. That's the installer. It goes on there and tighten that bolt and it pops a new injector in. And this is the remover. So, see how well it works. Alright, so it doesn't have a hole for this one to fit into. So I guess that's how that one goes in, and then on these it goes into there. Okay, first time using this thing. Then you got your little oil diverter bolt hole here. That's what this long one screws into. And it just goes down, down, baby, up, down, a baby. It goes down there like that. And then it is a 10 millimeter. All right, see how well this thing works. I've never actually used it, so could be a huge win or a huge loss. Feels like it's coming right out though. I've been wrong before though. I think it's out. Maybe it's out. Oh yeah. That is one injector out. We're leaking oil everywhere. Sweet. And I don't know if y'all can see, but you have all of that oil that makes its way down into the cylinder now. So that's why you have to make sure that you at least, you know, give these a little pump over before you put in the new injector. You know, at least you got to do a rotation to push any of that oil out of the cylinder there. Or take the engine stand, rotate it up, you know, put this head down low, and then still rotate it over. That way you just pump all the oil out of the cylinders, which, you know, is probably what I'm going to do. Because I want to make sure that air will get you out of this thing. And obviously, if you're in frame, you can't turn the engine upside down to get the oil out of the hole, so you will just have to go on the crank and pump the engine over to get the oil out of the cylinders, you know, if you're doing it in frame. If you have it on a stand like this, you have a bunch of options for getting oil out of said cylinders. Okay, on to what we were doing, which is I'm taking all these off right now. Okay, yeah, you ain't even got to take those top bolts out. Now, let's see if I can show y'all the, wow, lost the tool. Oh. Let's see if I can do the correct way. And see, these here, the ones that line up here, they actually have a spot. You know, a little nub here goes down in the hole, so it actually holds the tool. The middle two do that, but the outer ones don't. And that's why this is double-sided the way it is, because I think it's meant for where you can flip it over and just hold it up there. Anyway. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm using the tool wrong. Completely impossible to say. See, the tool sits there, it goes in the hole, and so it pushes this up, and it probably gets everything aligned exactly where it's supposed to be for this process to work flawlessly. And if it does on this one, then y'all will know how to do it, and y'all can do the rest of the injectors without me. And I can go off camera for a minute while I get these out and, you know, move on to other stuff. All right, so there, that one's tight. It's up. Didn't even touch that bolt, and we're up and around it. So, but you have to remember, you have to slide it forward and get it up over that bolt before you start reefing on it, or you're just going to be fighting the bolt. I don't want to see that happen to any of y'all. But yeah. Coming right out, I do believe. Oh yeah, look, the angle is way more better this time on our bolt to, quit that, on our bolt to injector ratio. Nope. Feels like the injector is out. Set that right there. Set you right there maybe. Oh, yep, injector is out. And that is a beautifully simple way to do that. Definitely some varnish in that hole. Ooh. That O-ring not looking good. That's okay. We're replacing them, so. It's not that big a deal. No! Never have the right size. Got that injector out. Now look how much cleaner that one is than that one. That one's all varnished up and that one's just spick and span shiny. Interesting. Interesting. Have to give everything a thorough inspection, I think. That O-ring was messed up pretty bad. Wonder, this is the high pressure oil. Wonder if I was getting oil into the fueling system. Because the engine wasn't making oil, like it wouldn't, the oil volume wasn't increasing on the engine, so it wasn't pushing fuel into the oil system. Then again, it wasn't really losing oil either. Like, I mean, he was going full 5,000 miles in between oil changes, so I don't know. Maybe there was no problem. Maybe it's just varnish buildup on the injector and absolutely nothing to worry about. But anyway, y'all saw how I successfully got that one out. Now I'm just going to go ahead and get the rest of them out, and we will meet back up after that said project is done. Yep. Oofda! Full of oil. A little drain down in there. A little drain down in there. Ew! No! Oh, okay, these ain't bad. These two, full. Oh god, it's got bubbles. And also another thing you can do if you're really worried about it being hydrolocked is whenever you go to do the first start, or once you get it all back together to a stable point to where you can crank it, if you have all the glow plugs, you can leave those out and either turn it over by hand or crank it with the glow plugs out. Which, I mean, I wouldn't be sitting there staring at it because it might come out of there with some force. But you have the glow plugs out and that'll keep it from hydrolocking too. So I'm probably just gonna, make sure I get everything out with the injectors out, and then I'll worry about it. But if you're in frame, obviously, like I said, you want to get them as empty as you can. I'd crank it over, suck them out as best you can, do whatever you can while the injectors are out, or even hit the key, let it really shoot it out of there, whichever. But make sure to get the oil out of the cylinders before you get this thing put back together. Don't forget that step, or well, you're gonna cause yourself some problems and you'll probably cry. To clarify what I was talking about earlier on the difference between the oh lord between the AD serial number injectors, which I hope y'all can see that. It's got the AD at the beginning of the serial number, and the AE, I hope y'all can see that. And then it's got this L, the LL. That's a long lead injector. And the reason why it's in there is because it's got a little different mechanism and how it works and how the timing of the injector works. But essentially, the way that number 8 fires right after the number 6, it's only cylinders that fire simultaneously, one right after another on the same bank. Like all the rest of the firing order and the rest of the cylinders, all like once one cylinder fires on this bank, the cylinder fires on this bank. So since number 8 fires right after number 6, they put a little different injector in there with a different mechanism inside of it, and it's a long lead injector, which I guess means that it just has a little bit longer stroke in the injector, to where once 6 fires and then number 8's firing, they say that there's a little less fuel in the head available because you only have one line feeding from here, and this cylinder just fired and it's taking fuel, and then now this cylinder is demanding fuel and it's past the feed. And plus they say the oil pressure is a little low in this head after this fires because the oil pressure comes in here, so it's feeding to this cylinder and the fuel's feeding to this cylinder. It just fired and now this one's needing it. So you see where there's a loss of oil pressure and fuel pressure right here, right when this cylinder needs it, which is, kind of silly once you really think about it, because there's a whole number of ways that they could have done away with that problem other than different injector. I mean, just with the plumbing alone, I mean, they could have made it where, you know, this fuel line fed in here, or, you know, just different fuel routing. I mean, there's a whole number of things they could have done, but this is how they chose to tackle that problem, with a different injector, which for us, it's not going to be a problem. Now, we could go all AD injectors if we wanted to, because, and we're going to the 4-line kit, we're going to have fuel coming in this end of the head and this end, so we're going to have fuel from both sides, so fueling is not going to be the problem anymore. Same thing with that head. And then plus, we're putting in the high pressure, you know, the adrenaline H-pop, so we're going to have more oil volume and pressure anyway. Plus, I'm putting in the crossover line here for the oil pressure. So it's going to be more oil volume is able to be shared between the heads, and more pressure is going to be able to be shared between the heads. So that problem shouldn't even exist for us. And then the AD and the AE, does it read that right? Yeah, the AD and the AE injectors are split shot injectors, and split shots are more for, you know, emissions. You know, just means as the piston's coming up right before it gets, you know, to TDC, or right before it gets to where you want it to fire, it gives a little, it just gives a little, you know, a little pre-squirt. And then once the piston gets up to where your actual timing is, you know, where you want it to fire, it's 11-degree offset. Once it goes another 11 degrees, that's where your actual timing's at, and that's where it gives the bulk of the fuel. And it's a split shot injector, and they do that for emissions and noise. You know, it quietens it down. It's supposed to make it burn cleaner. I think almost all new truck, actually, I think all the new ones, I think they have more than 2 shots. I think you can have multiple shots per combustion stroke. It all depends on how the tuning's done. But anyway, that's a split shot injector, and it's giving your fuel to you in 2 separate shots. And our new injectors are all AA injectors, and that is the 94 to 97 injector, and it's just a single shot. And whenever you're turning up fuel, turning up power, you know, in the aftermarket world, everyone tends to go to the AAs because they're the performance gain. Now, a factory AA injector is just an 80cc injector. They're a much smaller injector than these. I think these are 140 or 160cc injectors, so these are bigger injectors by internal volume than the AAs, but these are modified injectors. These are 175cc with 30% nozzles. So they're bigger injectors than these, and they're a single shot. And, you know, like I said, as far as coming from a double shot or split shot injector to a single shot, it's just in the timing. Like you go in there, which I'm already gonna have to turn down a duty cycle on the injectors because they are bigger. So I mean, I'm gonna have to play with the duty cycle. You know, and we'll have to tune it. You know, we'll have to tune the truck, and then it's just, you know, it's the timing. You'll be adding timing to it because it's a single shot injector from that. Plus, I'm probably gonna be adding a smidge of time to it anyway. So that's all in the tuning. You know, once you get in there, the computer, that's when you'll take care of the single shot versus the split shot problems. But yeah, that is the difference between the AD and the AE. Just that was Ford's attempt to solve a problem that they created. Maybe Navistar created it. You know, maybe it's an international problem, but it doesn't matter. You know, it's just that was either international or Ford's attempt to solve a problem that they essentially created themselves. Done with that. You know, we're making all the improvements that it's not a problem. We're going to AA injectors. Yeah, we're going to AA injectors. You know, we're going to have single shot. We're going for power. We don't care if it's a little loud and rattly and crackly. I mean, it already was anyway, and we just don't care. We want the efficiency and the power. That's what we're looking for here. And I just wanted to come back and give y'all that update because I'd turned my brain back on. So I just wanted to share that bit of information with y'all while I still had it fresh on my mind. All right, let's get this oil sucked out of these cylinders, at least as much as we can. We'll start with the ones that have oil standing in them. Oh yes, it's sucking the lifeblood right out of it. Wish I had a hose small enough to fit in that injector hole. That would be. Oh wait, maybe. Oh, it does fit in it. Oh, that's cool. That means, yeah, we can get almost everything out of the cylinder probably then. And then once we get it sucked down, what is already here and visible, we will then, oh, got a piece of O-ring in that one. We will then rotate the motor over and push out any oil that is, you know, waiting on top of the piston. No, baby, come back. Oh. Well, that's what happens when you're not paying attention. It gets you. It gets you real good. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting the oil out of here. I think once I get all the oil out of all the cylinders, oh yeah, in my beard, in my everything, hallelujah. All right, yeah. Anyway, finish getting it out of the motor in case said accident happens again. Yep. At least it didn't go in my mouth. Anyway. That cylinder's pretty good. Let's go to the one that just shot me in the face. And we'll finish it off. Even though most of it is out here on the ground right now, it's still just pushing it up and out. Oh, that cylinder there must have been all the way down. That cylinder there is plumb full. No wonder it got me so bad. That cylinder must have been all the way down. And it was the first injector I pulled out. So it's got all kinds of oil in that hole. Fair play, fair play. Man, it got me good. I was not expecting it either. I was speechless. To say the least, I was speechless. Wow. That was huge. Oh, and I stopped there for about a second. There for about a second, I was like, oh, it's getting edited out. I'm gonna go change. I'm done. Whew. I was about 0.3 seconds from coming off the handle. Oh, hey, whoa, you calm down in there. Ah! I might have got on the camera. I have to check the lens here in a minute. Oh, man, this cylinder right here is out of control. Ah! I'm telling you. Oh, I got one over there squirting. Good Lord, we got oil everywhere. All right, so I guess I need to jump my hose over here next and catch up with the cylinder over here that's squirting out everywhere. There's that one. Woo, dang, we got oil everywhere. And see, this is why it's absolutely important to clean out your cylinders. However you go about it, clean them out. Because as many of you may have thought, there is There ain't that much oil in there. We won't worry about it. Crank her over. Yep, no, you definitely... That cylinder there would have been hydrolocked at BDC. Okay? Like, at bottom dead center. She had no room to give. Woo a dang. Alright, I got a feeling I got a lot of playing to do here. So I'm going to cut y'all loose for a little bit while I finish up this process of getting all the oil out of the engine. And I don't want to go putting a bunch of brake clean down these holes if I don't have to, because you know, I don't want to wash the cylinder walls because it may still be a few days before this thing goes back in, and I don't want the cylinder walls to start rusting up on me. So I'm just gonna let the rings do their job, and we'll catch back up with you here in just a little bit. Let the controversy begin. All right, and I'd like to just real quick take a step back and catch up on something that was previously stated. Previously, I said I was unsure of these Xotic Performance branded studs, because we had made a quick glance over the instrucciones, and I had just read this first sequence, because where it says first sequence, it has 2 sequences in the instructions, so that's misleading all on its own. But it says tighten the sequence to 45 and then to proceed with tightening to 85 foot-pounds. So it's actually 2 sequences. There's 45 and then 85. And I read that and I was just, you know, and I stopped right there. I just stopped. Just, you know, stopped, looked at the picture and went on. And, you know, assumed that 85 was the finished torque. And I was like, man, you know, that just seems a little low. And then I looked up the factory head bolt torque, and it topped out at 95. And doesn't even have the whole torque to yield step, you know, the whole 95 and then turn an additional 90 degrees. It didn't have none of that. It just said 95 degrees, and that's where it stopped. That is the final torque on the stock head bolts, 95 foot-pounds. And I was like, you mean tell me they got a brand of studs out there that tighten down lower than the factory head bolt? Now, I know studs don't stretch like head bolts do, but you would think that they'd at least be at a higher torque value, which equals out to a higher clamping value than the factory bolts. And you would be right, because I'm an idiot, and I stopped reading right here. And then if you go down to where it says second sequence, which is technically the 3rd sequence, it says tighten all nuts to 125 foot-pounds, which, you know, makes me feel so much better. All right. And we're probably going to go past that. We're probably going to do 130. You know, 5 over will make me sleep a little better at night, because we're not replacing the head gaskets. We're leaving these head gaskets on here. You know, it's already seated. It's already squinched. So it shouldn't even have to, in theory, even do a hot retorque. I'm not going to, because these head gaskets are sealed. They're smashed. They're down on there. And plus, you got to pull the injector out just to do the hot retorque on that one, unless you got a special socket or fitting or something that gets in there, because a regular straight socket will not go past that injector to get to that head bolt right there, that one. So I'm going to take them to 130, a little bit over their torque rating, so it should put it hopefully right where it wants to be, because we're not pulling the head off. I'm doing this, and you know, that's where the controversy is probably going to start, because I know there's some people out there that find this completely acceptable. Not a problem with it. They don't keep them up at night. They don't lose no sleep over it. But, you know, you take out the old 1 bolt here, put in the stud, torque her down to what the factory settings is. And in this case, we ain't got that old torque to yield shit. So we just put in the stud, torque it down to 95. That one's in there. And then you just go in reverse torque sequence, put all the studs in. And once they're all in, then you start from the center and go proper torque sequence back out, you know, with your last step at the 125. So we're going to put in this one here first and work our way backwards, going around the head, spiraling inward, putting in our studs and torquing them down to 95 foot-pounds as we put them in. Then once they're all in, we'll start at the center and go back out clockwise, anti-clockwise, whichever way you want to do it. Start at the center, work your way back out in proper torque sequence and torque them down to the 130. That is my plan. That is what we're doing. And yeah, we're just gonna send this bad boy right now. I will let y'all know if I run into any problems. And I'm not sure if, this is my first 7.3 doing this too. I'm not sure if any of these are in water jackets, but I guess we'll find out as they come out. I'll look at them. If they got thread sealer on them, we'll seal them up. If I might seal them all. It's hard to say just yet. Well, that one looks wet, so I'm gonna say it's not in a water jacket. And then it's got 4 short ones on each head too, like that one, that one, that one, that one. It says to put in shorter ones. That is per the instructions. Is that bolt 4, 5, 12, and 13, which 4, 5, 12, and 13 is be the top 4 on each head. It's supposed to take one of these slightly shorter studs. So we'll see about that. Oh no, I forgot my Allen wrench. I do believe it's the same size. Yep, same size as the oil squirter or redirector or whatever you want to call it. 5mm tray is what we're gonna put in here. And this time I'm not gonna be as dumb as I was last time. I'm gonna put a little bit of the lube on the threads. That's kind of excessive. Before I put it in. There we go, that's better. What the? Oh yeah. And y'all know how I do. I like to back them off at least a quarter turn from once they bottom out. That is a quarter turn. Now, let's get some washer and nuttage on there. Oh yeah, get the lube on the nut. That's what I'm talking about. You sickos. Yep, it's gonna thread in there a little bit, so I have to back the stud back off my quarter turn once I get it in there. This is gonna be a little bit slower process than normally studding something, but hey, we got a head gasket that's already sealed. It's not blown, and it's aged in there. She's crispy. She's been in there for a hot minute, so ain't no reason to mess with it. It's bottomed out. It's backed off a quarter turn. Hey, Richie. Let's take her to 95 torquems. Man, that seems like nothing, don't it? Yeah, that's 95, all right. Lord, I just ain't worried. I just ain't used to. I just ain't used to values that small. Man, that seems like nothing. I'm glad it's got another torque step. All right, and what you just saw me do on that one, I'm gonna do for the rest of them, and I'll get back with y'all once we get there, and I'll let you know if I run into any steps along the way or I'll cut in whenever we have one that I actually got to put some thread sealing on or something because we run into a water jacket. Well, let's see if this one is while we're here right now. Nope, that one's not. Disgusting. Get out of here. Ladies and gents, we almost made it. I had to break out the ARP Ultra Torque for the last 2 studs. Made it so close. So close. Good job on Xotic. They almost gave me enough lube to get all the fasteners in. And that's saying something, because I am quite liberal with that lube. I mean, I put it to them. And to me, and to the rags, and to the shop, and everywhere. And now, with that out of the way, comes the negatives. What is that? I'll tell you what that is. That's like a 10 or an 11 millimeter washer. Yes, they sent me one undersized washer, which any ordinary man, that might have bit you. But luckily, just luckily for me, Cummins are huge piles of garbage, and I have loads of 12 mil Cummins studs scattered amongst the piles of debris here. So I was able to steal one of my ARP. Actually, I think this is one of the OptiTorque stud kits that's in an ARP box. But either way, I was able to steal a 12 mil hardened washer from that kit there to supplement into this one. And it worked out perfect. And that being said, all of them are in. They're all in there. They're all torqued down to a modest 95 foot-pounds. And everything went smooth. There was no hiccups, no anxiety, no pressure, no nothing except for, you know, like some of the bolts had a lot of moisture buildup on them, and it really had me concerned for a minute. Yeah, like there was a lot of them that had fluid in the holes, like so much so that I had to double check myself. I had to go to the Google machines and the intro webs, and I had to do a little research just to make sure that none of these went into coolant jackets. And then a few of the holes had so much fluid in them, like it was up past, like once the bolt was out, you couldn't even see the threads. Like the entire thread depth was nothing but liquid. But it wasn't coolant, you know, it wasn't red, because red coolant's what we run in here. It wasn't red, it wasn't clear, and it wasn't milkshake. All right, like if it's oil and coolant or oil and water, it turns into a brown milkshake. This was more of a, I don't want to say creamy white, but it was more of like a ghost white. You know, like, see, like here on the bolts now, it's like clear. They don't even have color to it now. I think the only reason it was that, like, kind of ghost white colors because where the impact, it took the bolts out and it just shocked the liquid a little bit. But all, like, not all of them, but several of them, like most of the bolts had fluid in the holes, and it had me worried. Like, I even got out my borescope and was sticking it down in some, you know, a couple of the holes I was going, like, well, wow, are we sure there's not a coolant jacket here? Is there not a big obvious crack? And luckily I do have a rather decent borescope, and I got down in all, you know, a few of the holes when I was checking them. They all looked good. There was no coolant jackets. It was just, I don't know, just a weird abundance of liquid inside holes. And I don't know, it was just weird and worried me. But we got past that. You know, I cleaned out the holes, did the thing, got all the studs in. They're all torqued down to 95 foot and pounds, and she's sitting here. And now, let me get my torquey wrench over here. Now we're going to start the process of the 125 foot-pounds. Or should we do 130? I want to do 130. 130 makes me feel good until they break. But you know, if one breaks, maybe, just maybe, I have enough Cummins studs laying around here. I could probably make something work. Probably. I don't know. Let's see. I got some ARP if I can get them out here. I have a couple ARP 625s. Yeah, those are bad units. If worse comes to worse, that'll probably work. Oh, same thread pitch on the block. Oh yeah, I ain't gonna worry about it. You know, if we break one, you know, we'll back up, punt, and change our torque values on all of them. But if we break one, I believe between all the studs I got around here, we can make something work out of this pie. There it is. 130 foot-pounds. Let's see how much instant regret we're gonna have. And remember, when I was putting in the other ones, I was doing reverse torque sequence, putting those in. Now we're gonna go in correct torque sequence, torquing these down. Oh yeah. Oh, solid. That ain't even got no give to it. That's 130. What's wrong with 135, you know? Let's go 5 pounds over. Let's go 10 pounds over the recommended torque. I mean, that 130 still felt solid. Oh, yeah. I like it. Okay, we're gonna do 135 on all these bad boys. If they don't break. Oh yeah. I mean, that feels solid, so I am not hating on it at all. All right, well, I'm gonna finish torquing these, and if I make it through it with the no drama llama beside me, y'all won't know nothing. If the drama llama shows up, y'all know something. See y'all here in just a minute. Woo dang! 135 across the board, not a broken stud to show for it. All right. I'm liking it. I was iffy. I was really iffy on these Xotic studs because honestly, I ain't never heard nothing about them, and I haven't even done any research into them. So, I don't know. If you're in this business and you don't hear about something, you just assume it ain't very good because you ain't heard about it. But I took them all 10 pounds over what it says to do in the instrucciones. And I mean, they felt solid. Like none of them felt spongy. They felt good. So, hey, I'm happy with them. Got all those torqued down. The heads are on there. They're squished good. And I'm just going to do a little cleanup around here because things are getting a little chaotic. I'm losing some work surface. And then once I get done cleaning up, we will get into popping in some. Let's see, are we doing the injectors yet? Let's see. Oh no, before we do the injectors, yeah, you know what? We'll get the injectors in, and then that way we can take out the glow plugs and we can turn it over a few times and blow anything out of the holes that's still in the holes that might be a problem. Then we can put the new glow plugs in, and then we can carry on with the fuel system. That sounds like a plan to this guy. All right, let me clean up. It's been fun. If y'all enjoyed the content, you're welcome to come on back. I try to make weekly uploads, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all on the next video. But this one's done. Leave a like and a comment down below. And as always, I appreciate y'all. Love having you, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everyone.